Every single week we have new items and vehicles and weapons coming to Fortnite hinted at in the news update. But something you probably never noticed is that some of the items and guns and vehicles that they have released are actually hinting at other games that have just been released, whether it's the same week they've been released or very close together. Today we're going to be talking about these because it's kind of interesting, and there's quite a few that you may have passed by and not really thought about. Without further ado, let's get into our number 3 spot, which is going to be the Grappler. The Grappler was released a couple weeks ago and has probably been the most fun item added to the game. But have you not noticed that the Grappler and Spider-Man PS4 came out in the same week? This has to be a nod to the Spider-Man game. I mean, when you're going around Tilted Towers using the Grappler, it's basically being Spider-Man. It's either the biggest nod to a game or the biggest coincidence. I mean, it is clearly a nod, though. I mean, it is a very similar weapon to the way Spider-Man uses his mechanics and stuff like that in the game. And just especially when you're just going around, you just feel like Spider-Man. I feel like that is why they chose to put this weapon in the game at that time. Definitely an indirect nod to it, but they're still acknowledging the game came out. They're like, hey, let's just give something to represent the game. Next up we have Black Ops 4. Now this one is going to be a little bit of a stretch. Now Black Ops 4 was released a couple weeks ago, but there's some things that have come in the game recently that kind of remind me of Blackout in the game overall. I mean, just the zombies spawning in Fortnite mares. Obviously, the Save the World portion is about the zombies and stuff like that, but definitely Blackout's idea of having the zombies in the Battle Royale version of a game is definitely a nod to that. I mean, they're like, hey, they had the idea first, we're just going to put it in here for a week and see how it does. Obviously, a lot of people didn't like that, including myself, but it's definitely a nod towards the zombies in the game of Blackout. There's also vehicles like the Quad Crasher that may, nod towards this happening. I mean, obviously a Quad Crasher is a quad. It has its own mechanics completely different to the natural quad in Black Ops 4 Blackout, but it's definitely a little bit similar. You add a quad in around the time, Black Ops 4 comes out. So, it's kind of similar, but obviously it may just be a coincidence, or Fortnite could have been planning this for months, and it just happens to be around the same time Blackout came out. And now this one is a really big stretch, but the overall just redeploying your glider, obviously that's been tested way before Black Ops, but in the game you can actually, jump off a building and deploy your wingsuit again. So that might be a little bit of a coincidence, but I'm not throwing hands, I'm not pointing fingers, alright? Let's move on. For number 3 spot, this has to be a nod at Red Dead Redemption 2. We have the Deadfire and the 6 shooters. So you guys know with the Season 6 Battle Pass there was the Calamity, and with the Fortnite mares coming around the same time that Red Dead released, we also had the Deadfire release. And the 6 shooter. Now you gotta tell me this is not a coincidence at all that these are literally the same style of what the Red Dead people use. I mean, they got the nice pistol from that Western time, and also the nice outfit. I mean, just got the cowboy hat, the trench coat on, that basically just mocks the style of Red Dead, and I love this nod. I feel like this is a nod. There's no way this is a coincidence, because they didn't have to do this around that time. They could have, waited to put out the boy Calamity skin, you know what I mean? So it definitely is a nod towards it, and I definitely like this, because it's just so many people love Red Dead, so when you add something into another game that kind of represents it or honors it, that's really cool. And I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that. Doesn't that seem a little similar to the Red Dead game that just came out? And I don't know, man, there's probably going to be a lot more nods and hints at other games in the near future with Fortnite. I'm really excited to see what they do, because just the little things that you gotta appreciate, and some things that your head just goes by and you really just don't realize it at first. Like the Spider-Man one, probably a lot of people were distracted by the game mode that came out in Fortnite about the Grappler, other than it representing Spider-Man. So if you guys did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.